Lesson 45 is titled The Division Rule for Equations. Maybe you remember back in Lesson 41, I kind of introduced that real briefly when we did practice problem D. So if you want to go back and look at that, you can. But what it is, it has it there right on the page, 128, in the boxed area there. The division rule, it says that both sides of an equation can be divided by the same number, except 0, without changing the solution of the equation. So like if that example 45.1 that they show you there at the top, solve that by dividing. Well, you could multiply both sides by 1/4, like they show there, to get the answer, 3/4. Or you could divide both sides by 4, and the 4's cancel on the left and you get 3/4. That's all you do with the division rule. Just divide both sides by the same non-zero number. Doesn't change the equation, the solution of it, it just changes the way it looks, and it allows you to isolate the value of x. Remember, that's always what you're trying to do. You're trying to isolate x in these problems to get the answer, to see what x equals. So let's go ahead and do the practice problems. Look at practice problem A. 0.04 times x is equal to 28. Okay, so to solve that, we can divide both sides by 0.04. Okay, so those cancel on the left, they equal 1. And so we say x equals, and then we can do the math on that, 28 divided by 0.04. Well, 28 over 4, that's 7. So 28 over 0.04, that would be 700. So x equals 700. Now this is a good example if you're still getting confused about the variables. The symbol, it doesn't really matter. If you go back and you look at example 45.2 on the other page, it's the same exact problem, except that you have an n instead of an x there. And they use a times symbol, and that's why it can get confusing sometimes. Usually they don't put that times symbol in there because it looks like an x a little bit. So anyway, n, x, it doesn't matter. It's just a letter to represent a variable. Let's look at B. 1/3 x is equal to 5. Okay. Now, really, I don't think the division rule is a good idea on this one, and it says solve by multiplying or by dividing. So let's use the multiplication rule on this one. We'll say, remember, you invert it, that fraction, you do the reciprocal of it, multiply both sides by the reciprocal, and anytime you multiply a number by its reciprocal, that equals 1. So on the left there we get 1 times x is just x, and that's equal to 5 over 1 times 3 over 1, so that would be 15 over 1, or just 15. And I really haven't talked about this, but hopefully you see it's understood. You don't write the 1 down in front of the x. Even though 3 over 1 times 1 over 3 equals 1, we just don't write that. We just write x instead of 1x. So x equals 15. And let's look at C then. Write it down. 3/5 x is equal to 2/3. Again, multiplying would be the better choice on this one. So let's go ahead and multiply both sides by the reciprocal, 5 over 3. Okay, so that cancels on the left. 2/5 or 2/3 times 5 over 3. Nothing simplifies there. So we can just write our answer 10 over 9. X equals 10 over 9. And so that means also that 3/5 times 10/9 equals 2/3, since x equals 10/9. Let's do a couple more. Let's do number 9. 5x equals 90. Now, a lot of these on the division rule, they're usually pretty easy. You can kind of do them in your head. You can say, well, 5 times what equals 90? That would be 18. Let's just do the division rule just for some practice. The 5's cancel on the left. We divide both sides by 5. X equals 18. Okay, and let's do number 10 as well. This type of problem is sometimes confusing. X over 4 is equal to 35. Okay, that means 1/4 times x. It's just written a little bit differently. X over 4 is the same thing as 1/4 times x. So all you have to do on that is multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 1/4, which is 4 over 1. So try not to get confused on that type of problem. So those cancel. The 4's cancel. And we have x over 1, or just x, is equal to 35 times 4, which would be 140. Well, that's all for lesson 45.